We've all dreamed of making that perfect yard sale score. You know, getting rich quick by finding a lost painting, invaluable vase, or rare vintage toy. But old toys only hold their value if it's pristine, or in some cases, unopened.
A vintage mint-in-box 1975 Mego Star Trek transporter.
And can you really put a price on the hours of joy that opening and playing with a toy gives you? Unfortunately for all us cool kids, those children who gazed longingly at their plastic-wrapped untouchables might just have had the last laugh after all, because some of those toys we played with are now worth mucho dinero, but only if it's pristine. Just like me, Nostalgic Nick with Do You Remember? Today we're looking at some of the most valuable vintage toys on the market.
You removed it from its original packaging.
No! Be sure to hit that thumbs up icon to show us some support. And subscribe to our channel so you never miss a memory. Now come on and let's get to playing. Or looking, we're just looking. I didn't open it, Dad. Star Wars action figures. Let's not bury the lead here. One of the most popular movie franchises of all time that captured the hearts and minds of children everywhere in the late 70s. And then horrified those same children after they grew up and took their own kids to the prequels in the 1990s. Of course, Star Wars is going to have some of the most expensive toys of all time. For example, in 2015, an unopened Luke Skywalker action figure sold at Sotheby's for a cool 25 grand. If that sounds like a ton of money to you, just wait. A couple years later, pristine figures of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi went for $64,900 and $74,700 respectively.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
But even those pale in comparison to a 1979 rocket-firing Boba Fett. The Fett figure was recalled before it made it to the market due to safety concerns. I mean, come on, do kids even need two eyes? Well, that made the toy extremely rare today, and one prototype recently fetched an outrageous $185,850 at auction. The Force was truly with those lame kids who kept their toys in boxes. Barbie. Ah, Barbie, probably the most iconic doll of all time. Certainly in the running to be the most famous toy in the world, with hundreds of different professions, clothes, and accessory sets to choose from. The possibilities for who your Barbie could be were endless.
I can help. I'm Tour Guide Barbie.
And let's hope you were a discerning kid, because some dolls today are worth more than $1,000. Dahlia Barbie, for example, and some dolls are decidedly not. I'm looking at you, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Barbie and Sun Gold Barbie. A doll so tan, you can't expect melanoma to come standard in the box. But the holy grail of Barbie collecting is certainly and obviously Barbie #1. Released in 1959 and featuring a stylish black and white bathing suit along with some sweet shades. The original is worth up to $8 grand today. More than enough money to satisfy all the kins in your life. Hot Wheels. In 1968, toy company Mattel released the first line of Hot Wheels toy cars, completely taking over the model car industry by portraying hot rod cars with big rear tires, superchargers, flame paint jobs, outlandish proportions, hood blowers, you get it. And soon, kids across America couldn't stop playing with their Hot Wheels. Whether in mini demolition derbies or zooming across their custom tracks. Hopefully you've held on to some of your old cars, because some of them can fetch a pretty penny. For example, 1968's Overchrome Camaro and Mustang sell for 25 grand and 40 grand respectively. But the real apex of the Hot Wheels market is the 1969 pink rear loader Beach Bomb, featuring 2 surfboards hanging out the back window, because only 2 are known to exist. So if you are one of those 2 lucky people, get ready to send a kid to college, because those pretty puppies are worth over $175,000. G.I. Joe. Think back to the halcyon days of the 1960s. Baseball was still America's pastime. The Beatles were massive, and sexism prevented boys from playing with dolls. So what did toy manufacturer Hasbro do? Make a 12-inch army doll called G.I. Joe and brand it as an action figure, thereby fooling generations of dumb young boys.
G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe.
But don't feel too bad for dumb young boys. You played with dolls, and it's okay, because you might get a fat paycheck out of it. The original G.I. Joes from the 60s and 70s regularly sell for thousands of dollars. But even that amount is dwarfed by the amount the hand-painted prototype for Joe himself fetched. When it was sold in 2003, hold on to your G.I. Joe butts, because that one solitary doll cost $200,000, and then it was subsequently donated to the Library of Congress. I can think of way cooler ways to burn $200,000, but hey, whatever. Pez dispensers. Is there anything cooler as a child than having a Pez dispenser? Filling it with some fruity, chalky, almost good candy, then pulling on your favorite character's head and having the little bonbon almost magically plop into your hand? I think not. Never mind that as an adult, the whole process resembles shoving candy up a toy's butt only for the toy to then spit the candy back at you. Sure, it's gross. And not only are Pez dispensers the coolest way to eat candy, but rare ones are now worth top dollar. Figures such as Soft Head Mickey Mouse or Chewbacca Misprint fetch many thousands when they hit the market. But the most valuable Pez of all is the 1982 Astronaut Bee dispenser made for the World's Fair. Now that puppy sold for an incredible $32,000. The world's most expensive candy delivery system. American Girl dolls. And now we venture a bit more into the recent past as we dip our toes once more into the valley of the dolls. American Girl dolls, that is, first released in 1986. American Girl dolls portray 8 to 14-year-old girls of various ethnicities, faiths, and social classes from different time periods throughout history. Soon, every girl in America wanted a Felicity or Samantha of their own. And hopefully either you or your daughters held on to them and resisted giving them stylish haircuts. Because today, some discontinued girls are fairly valuable. Dolls such as Kirsten Larson and Molly McIntyre, which are no longer made, have a vibrant secondary market. And they can sell for several $1,000s. Truly an American doll. Atari Games. If you had an Atari in the late 70s, you were definitely the coolest kid on your block. The first true home video game system, Atari revolutionized the way we game and blew kids' minds everywhere.
Just last night, I was lost in the jungle with Pitfall Harry, surrounded by giant scorpions and man-eating crocodiles.
But by the early 80s, Atari had made numerous financial missteps, including betting heavily on a terrible E.T. game, which led to completely imploding into bankruptcy. They ended up burying over 700,000 of those remaining games in the New Mexico desert, which all combines to make certain vintage Atari games super valuable. For example, Red Sea Crossing, a Christian game originally only available by mail order, now only with 2 known copies, has sold for $10,000. And a copy of Air Raid, a 1982 game where you defend Manhattan from aliens, complete with box, has gone for over $30,000. So come on and let's head out to the desert with our shovels. Comic books and toys. Of course, comic books and their toy spin-offs were going to make this list. It was inevitable.
I am inevitable.
Everyone knows that all the original comic books from the 30s and 40s, Superman, Batman, etc., are worth millions today. But Nick, you say, I'm not 100 years old. I didn't buy a copy of Superman #1 in 1939. Well, you are in luck, cause comic books from the 60s are worth tons of moolah too. The first appearance of Spider-Man in 1962 has sold for over $3 million. And the first Fantastic Four for over $1 million. And it's not just the comic books themselves, it's the toys too. If you have a pristine original Batman action figure doll to go with your original Batmobile and wearable Batman utility belt, then you're looking at almost $3,000 worth of swag. Although, any kid who didn't open a Batman utility belt and instead kept it in perfect condition is under no circumstances to be trusted, and also probably won't sell it either. There you have them, some of the most valuable vintage toys out there. So did any of you actually have some of these toys as a kid? How many do you wish you had now? Will you send me any of them? I'm joking, but get in the comments and tell me all things vintage toys. If you enjoyed today's Toy Chest Deep Dive, please give this video a thumbs up, it really helps. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you very much for watching.